It's time again for another installment of The Basics, and on today's show we're going back to the X-Files CCG because I'm answering a viewer question, and the viewer would like to know how I go about choosing the 4 agents for my deck when I am building a X-Files CCG deck. So I'm going to show you and take you through what I do to choose an agent. Now, because the X-Files CCG is one of thinking and investigation and sometimes cunning, you have to put a lot of thought into the 4 agents that you're putting into your constructed deck. I'm going to show you, using the agents I have laid out on the table here, what I look for when I'm choosing agents to go in my deck. Not pictured is Agent Fox Mulder because I don't have him for some reason in this set. He would be a given in a constructed deck because of his paranormal skills and investigation and things like that. Because I don't have him, one of the first agents I usually go for is Dana Scully, mainly because she has high medical at 4, high health at 4, and other useful skills like sciences, long-range combat, criminal investigation. But because she has high medical and high health, there is a very good chance that in a combat situation, or if a player plays a card that does something to her, she won't get sent to the hospital right away. I can keep her out in the field. Almost the same situation with Alex Krychek, another one of my go-tos. He has a very high health number at 5. Also high numbers at 4 apiece of subterfuge and long-range combat. If I get into a fight, I want to have him as one of my agents. Good chance that I can definitely avoid the hospital but deal damage to another player. Now here's one you wouldn't think of right away. Albert Hosteen, a native man. If you remember from the 3-part episode in, I think it was season 3, where Mulder investigates alien corpses, he doesn't have a lot of high number skills except for occult investigation. He has a number of 4. If I put him together with Fox Mulder, I can do a lot in terms of alien and occult investigation between the two. And he's very good to have that if you get into those situations, and if your opponent is working with an X-File based on either occult or alien investigation. Dr. Charles Burke, I remember in my previous set of X-Files cards when I built decks, I did use him. He has a high computer skill of 4. Aside from that and a health of 3, he's pretty much useless in terms of combat or investigation. But if you need to hack into systems or use computer-based cards, he's your guy. Agent Weiss and Agent Jack Willis both have high health at 4 and 5 respectively. Agent Weiss is good at long-range combat, as is Agent Jack Willis. If you want 2 guys that are good in fights or good in combat, you'd use them. In terms of other skills, they all top out around 1 or 2 for different things. Evidence collection, they both have 2. There's not much to do other than that. They are decent agents. Inspector Phoebe Green has a very high health of 4, and she also has observation of 3. Very interesting combination. Not to mention 3 under criminal investigation. Very useful, especially if you team her with Fox Mulder. That could be a very interesting duo in your deck. And I think finally, one of the other ones that I've used in the past would be Agent Rich, mainly because he has a high health, moderate skills for combat and behavioral, but an extra computer skill. Possibly could come in handy. Those are just some of the things I look for when I am inserting agents into a constructed deck. You want to make sure that you take care of additional issues that you might face in the game by thinking ahead and going over the skills before you put these agents in your deck. It's not something that you're going to do quickly, whereas when you're playing a different CCG like Magic or Star Trek, you can quickly glance at the attack, defense, or the attributes on the cards and decide if you want them. You really have to do a lot of thinking with the X-Files CCG before you put even your first agent into your deck. Now, as I've said on previous episodes of the show that deal with the X-Files CCG, the choice of agents is going to be the first thing you're going to do for your deck, aside from the X-File card, because that's the most important facet of a constructed deck. But The agents you put in your deck will determine a lot of the other cards that you start throwing in there, as well as the X-File. So you really have to be careful when you do this. And as I mentioned, put a lot of thought into it. Even go on the internet. There are some sites up there with people that have constructed decks. They've put them up for everyone to see. See what they're using and see if that pattern fits with what you're trying to do with your deck. Remember, even as good of a resource the internet can be, no two decks are the same. Have a great day, everybody.